So today we're gonna be discussing the very low-key subliminal war between Andre 3000 and Nas. So they recently made music together, but back in the day, they didn't exactly hit the studio together all that much. When Outkast was just starting out, Nas was one of their biggest fans. Even when other rappers were quick to throw shade, he was really in their corner, especially to the East Coast crowd, helping Outkast earn their stripes in the hip-hop game. But when it came to making music together, things didn't quite click. Their creative vibes just did not line up, with Nas spinning his rhymes one way and Andre 3000 doing his thing in a totally different direction. So the gist is, their creative differences might have been what kept them from cooking up more hits together. And rumor has it, there might have been some drama involving Nas's ex-wife, Kelis, that played a part in why they did not team up more often. So, let's begin. Now, to get the full picture of this story, we gotta hit the rewind button all the way back to 2002. Both Kelis and Nas were going through a rough patch in their careers at that point. Kelis had dropped a pretty chill album around 1999 called Kaleidoscope, but her next album, Wonderland, around 2001, didn't get much buzz despite killing it overseas. And so, she ended up getting the boot from her record label. As for Nas, he had made a name for himself in the 90s, but transitioning into the new millennium wasn't exactly smooth sailing. His third and fourth albums, I Am and Nostradamus, both came out around 1999, got a bit of a bad rep for being too mainstream. By the end of 2001, he dropped Stillmatic, which got a lukewarm reception despite the major buzz around it, since it brought up his major well-known beef with Jay-Z.
Fuck with your soul like ether, teach you the king, you know you.
Plus, he lost his mother around 2002, which also held him back a little bit. So yeah, when Nas and Kelis first met, neither of them was exactly riding high. So, Kelis and Nas first bumped into each other in late August of 2002 at the MTV Video Music Awards after party hosted by Diddy. Looking back, their encounter was very awkward. Even though Nas knew who Kelis was, he acted like he had no clue when she introduced herself. But now that I think about it, Nas was probably thinking, you know what, I'm not gonna act like a groupie, but I want her attention. Nas then quickly flipped not knowing her into a playful joke. Kelis was like, hey, I'm Kelis. And he goes, who? Then Nas was like, oh, well, that's great, because I've been waiting to make you my wife all these years. At the time, Kelis was 23 years old and Nas was about 30. And let's just say they hit it off. They began making music together, featuring on songs like Kelis's Popular Thug, Blindfold Me, In Public, and Nas's Hey Nas, Not Going Back, and American Way.
When he wanted, he blindfold me. Then I get sexy on him, get sexy on.
Eventually, Nas got very serious about Kelis and popped the question at her mom's place on Christmas Eve around 2002. They finally tied the knot around January of 2005 after a 2-year engagement. From then on, Nas and Kelis were inseparable. Now, to get into the whole Andre 3000 Nas and Kelis dynamic, let's touch on some of their collabs. We won't dig into them all, just the big ones. Around 2003, Nas and Kelis were not only crazy about each other, but also making sweet music together. As mentioned earlier, Nas popped up on Kelis' track In Public from her hit album, Tasty. The album was a hit, thanks to tracks like Milkshake, Trick Me, Millionaire, and In Public.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
And in that same year, Kelis also hooked up with Andre 3000 on their Speakerbox The Love Below album. She added some spice to the track called Dracula's Wedding with a spoken word segment.
Through sickness and in health.
Now that we've talked about the musical link-ups between our trio, let's get into Nas's record label drama. So, in the early 2000s, Nas was making a comeback with album number 5 called Stillmatic, and as mentioned earlier, he had a big-time beef with Jay. This got his label, Columbia Records, excited enough to release 2 old-school albums, including The Lost Tapes, which had a bunch of Nas tracks that he recorded between 1998 and 2001, but never dropped.
Me, I'm drunk by myself, gun under my seat. I don't want none of my peeps caught up in none of my beef.
Around this time, it seemed like Nas was about to drop a double album, and Sony Urban Music / Columbia even announced it around 2004. But there were whispers about Columbia Records not really being into the double album idea. At this time, Columbia Records and Nas were pretty much on shaky ground. At the same time, Nas and Andre 3000 were both featured on Kelis' album Tasty, but even though they were all working together, rumors began swirling about a feud between Nas and Andre 3000. The beef was supposedly over how much promotional love their label was showing them. Andre 3000's track Hey Ya was getting a ton of attention from the label, which made Nas feel like he was being sidelined. Allegedly, according to sources, Columbia Records did not do enough to promote Nas' album, which didn't do as well as expected. Nas was feeling like a slave to another contract, and apparently he was not too happy about the way things were going at Columbia Records. Now, around May of 2004, Kelis and Andre 3000 landed a cover spot on a magazine called The Face. In the article, Kelis admitted that she was pretty much jealous of Andre 3000's style, especially his pearl necklace. She even tried to get Nas to try it out, but Nas was not having it. Kelis said, "I'm always trying to get my man to do pearls. I said, Nas, come on, pearls, you gotta." He just would not. So, it kinda seemed like Kelis was comparing Nas and Andre 3000 styles, which can be a recipe for disaster in any relationship. And Nas not wanting to wear pearls, even though Kelis kept pushing it, might have been his way of sticking to his own style. The fact that Kelis was talking about this stuff in public made it seem like she was trying to change Nas, or that she liked Andre 3000's style more than Nas's. So, while Nas and Kelis were a thing, it seemed like Kelis was beginning to do things the way Andre 3000 was doing it. She allegedly began changing up her diet and lifestyle, and apparently Andre 3000 was the main influence for this. Basically, after hanging out with Andre 3000, Kelis began to live life a bit differently, maybe a bit more out of the box, and Nas was not too thrilled about this. So, fast forward to November 20th, 2004, and Nas drops album number 7 called Street's Disciple. This was a big time double album, covering all sorts of stuff, from his own life story to his spicy political views. His then wife-to-be, Kelis, even featured on the track American Way on the second disc.
Yeah, I think about this every day. That's the American way.
But here's where things get a bit juicy. Nas also made a song called These Are Our Heroes, and according to a bunch of sources, this was a diss track aimed at Andre 3000. It seems like on the track, Nas was talking about Andre 3000's style and questioning whether it was real, or was Andre simply playing a part. The lyrics suggest that Andre 3000 would sell out just to sell more albums. In the song he raps, "You homie the clown, bow tie, apple pie, Bojangles. But we love Bojangles, we know what he came through. But what's your excuse, Duke? You talk black, but your albums sound like you give your nuts for a plaque. You don't write for facts like, say Scarface. You don't know what you feel. Y'all too safe." Now over time, Nas and Andre 3000 figured out their differences and even got to making music together. However, things were pretty bad between Nas and Kelis. Towards the end of their relationship, there were a lot of rumors surrounding the couple. There were whispers everywhere about Kelis cheating on Nas with another rapper named Infrared. There was even a leaked sex tape around 2009, which fueled the gossip. This drama and more hinted at a potential breakup. Then boom, at the end of April 2009, Kelis, who was 7 months pregnant, filed for divorce. Their reasons? Irreconcilable differences. But there were also rumors of verbal abuse and infidelity. They did not split on good terms, and even began bashing each other publicly in the media. After the divorce papers were filed, Nas was seen chilling with Maxwell in Turks and Caicos. They were sipping champagne and dancing with ladies. A few hours later, Kelis launched into a Twitter rant and didn't name Nas but seemed to be talking about him. Fast forward to around July 2012, Nas dropped album number 10, life is good. And if you look at the album cover, you can clearly see Kelis' wedding dress casually draped over his knee. He found the dress at his place after the divorce and decided to feature it on his album cover, kind of like his way of moving on. There's also a track called Bye Baby on the album, which is obviously talking about Kelis.
When we walked to the altar, that was an awesome day. Did counseling, couldn't force me to stay.
So in essence, Nas and Andre 3000, despite their past beef, managed to bury the hatchet and have even teamed up for some songs. Fast forward to now, Kelis and Nas have called it quits. Word on the street is Kelis is dating Bill Murray now, so it seems like everyone has moved on from the drama. That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened between Nas, Kelis, and Andre in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.